Hey guys, it's Nathan with the Card Shop again. I thought we would talk about grading today. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I get a lot of questions about it. And I'm hoping I can kind of maybe answer some of those questions and have something that everybody can kind of relate to kind of keep from repeating the same questions over and over again and have the same answers over and over again. But one of the key thing about any card when you're considering having it graded is the value. Now, if you're talking personal collection, and it's one of your favorite cards, and you want to spend $20 to have it slabbed up, by all means, please do so, because that card is going to be protected for life. Easy to always track down its value, and just ensures anytime it was passed on to family or whatever that it's not a fake. It has a certification number on it. But excellent idea with PC stuff. Just it can get expensive. But most of the time when people are talking about grading, they're talking about value and they're trying to up something's value. So step number one, like we got just a simple, it's a Cade Cunningham 2021-22 Donruss orange laser Cade Cunningham rookie. So it's not like a super hot card or nothing like that, but it probably was 2 years ago. But say you come across this today. So the first thing you want to do, and we talked about comping in our previous videos, but we're just going to quickly take a look at this here. So what I've done is 130 point, just quickly put in the parameters on that particular card and look at it and see. I mean, right now this card's going for $5, $4, for 350. I mean, that's a different one. That's a hollow. But I mean, it's $5 to $10 on a good day raw, right? So I mean, maybe you want to up that investment. So what most people do, they're going to go and look for PSA 10, right? So now let's go down and look at PSA 10s. So the same card as a PSA 10 sold for 35, sold for 45, 34, 28, 40, right? So I mean, definitely worth having something like that graded. Now, what I like to tell people is don't anticipate getting a 10 when you're debating on having it graded or not for value. What we want to do is just look at the PSA 9. So you see here I've got 9 in the parameters, and we go down and you see a 9 is $15, 20, 20, right, $20. So if it's going to cost you $20 to $25 to have a card graded, and it's going to be worth 15 to 20 when you get it back, probably not the best card to have graded, right? The parameters just aren't there. So what I recommend is like this particular card. I would not have this card graded because the value's not there. I mean, you're risking getting a 9 or an 8, and it could be worth less than what it costs to have the card graded altogether. So that is the parameters that I use. I think the PSA 9 parameter is probably the most valuable thing. Is just because even if you think you have a perfectly centered card and the surface is good and it's going to grade a 10, sometimes it comes back at 9 anyway. They're using techniques that we don't have. They're obviously professional graders, and we're just hobbyists. So you got to keep that in mind. So I always just use a 9 for reference. Now, whenever I get ready to figure out what cards to be graded, the first step that I take before I even do the comping is I always look at the centering of a card. Because to me, with the naked eye, I usually can quickly tell if it's a gradable card just by the centering of a card or not. Now, you can quickly see, like, this is Bowman Chrome, and you can quickly see that it has like a border here. So you can see the distance between the edge of the card and that orange line on each side. Well, the centering on this card, left to right, looks really good. So we want to look at the vertical centering. Now, here's the trick that I've learned is turn the card sideways And for whatever reason, my eyes work better looking at it left to right than it does top to bottom. But now you can see from the bottom of this little box here under where it says catcher to the bottom of the card, looks to be about the same size as from the orange box here to the edge of the card. So now this card, like kind of this one, passes the naked eye test, right? Like this one's good to go to the next step. And we'll go back to this Cade Cunningham. Kind of the same thing here. Left to right, it's kind of got a decent border. Looks like the left side's a little bit larger than the right. Once again, we turn it on its side, and that top to bottom, that looks pretty good. Now, you can easily find something different. Let me grab a different card. Say like this 23 Mosaic. There's a lot going on the face of that card, but some of the same parameters still exist. You just have to find your own. So now if we turn it sideways, you can easily see from the top of the debut box to the edge of the card, and from the bottom of the name to the edge of the card. You can see the left side is slightly bigger than the right side. And then if we turn it back sideways, there's not really a border here, but there's the rookie icon, which if you put a straight edge on it, actually lines up with the edge of the Mosaic label. And then you see the Lions logo. So you see from the paw of it to the edge of the card, and from the edge of this to the edge of the card. Those are your centering devices. And then you also have, there's a design on the card. It's hard to show on the camera. Let's take it out of the top loader, if that helps. So there's a design on the card. There's little hexagons. And you can see there's a point on every hexagon. So you can use the point of that hexagon to measure to the edge of the card, and the same thing from the point of the hexagon to the edge of the card. Now, if you do that on this particular card, this card is not centered left to right. You can see this is twice the size it looks like from the point to the edge of the card and to the point to the edge of the card on this side. Okay, so that one wouldn't even make it past the naked eye test. So we would just move on from that one. So, we got the Patrick Bailey here. It passed the naked eye test. Okay. So then my next process would be the comping process that we just went through. I want to make sure that the value is going to be there before I invest it in the card. And then after we've determined those two, then the next step is going to be actually using a centering tool. And I'm going to show you, these are the little kits that we have in the store. We don't make any money off these, but it sure is a easy system. It has everything in it you kind of need. But there is actually two centering tools in here, and I can't really teach you how to use the centering tool on camera. It's something that just takes a little practice. But if you look at the centering tool, I like the one with the red lines because it kind of breaks it up. And you can see like it has numbers. Well, first, look at the black border. All right, so the black border, that needs to represent the edge of your card. So if you was going to lay this down, you want to line that black border up with the edge of your card as best as you possibly can, right? So that's step number one. Okay. Now you see it has the numbers. So the first line is the 1, then you have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So that goes all the way across. So what you would want to do is after you line up your centering tool around the edges, we would want to find what number is lining up on the edge of something that we want to match it up on the other side. So this one, the 3, and this is very hard on camera, but the 3 is following that orange line like dead center. And if we come over to the other side, the 3 is doing the same thing on the other side, right? So this card is really well centered that way. And then, like I said, you turn it sideways and make sure you're centered up on the black edges, and you're doing the same thing. You're going to follow those lines, and this is going to get you within those parameters. Now, with PSA, which is who we use primarily, you have a 55-45 centering variance to get a 10 on the face of the card. What that means is it cannot be more than, if you was to cut this card in half, you cannot have more than 55% of the card on one side or the other. So it's going to give you like, just say a 7.5% variance on your number. So it has to be really close. And that's the same variance on, top, vertical centering and horizontal centering. Now, on the back of the card, which most people forget, they're going to give you a variance of a 60-40. So they give you quite a bit, you got a lot more leeway on the back of the card. My experience is if it passes the test on the front, you're usually good on the back. But you want to check it, right? To always check it. It's your money. And the grade you get back is dependent upon how you did your process in the beginning, right? So, all right, so that one, so we talked about the centering tool, right? And then, so that passed the centering test. So the next thing you want to do, there's multiple ways of doing it, but I like these little setups that come in that kit. And you can actually, has a light built in. And at this point, you can take the card out of the top loader. Okay, because you can't do the next step until you've taken it out. And what I recommend doing is leaving it in the penny sleeve. And then we're going to grab the edges of the card. And I want to lay the card perfectly flat. I'm trying to represent that. Always have you a nice clean surface that you're working on. Definitely not something that's going to scratch the card. And then you're going to have 2 of your microfibers, and microfibers actually come in that kit. And what I do is I take one microfiber and I hold the corner of the card. And then I'm just, you want to get fairly aggressive cleaning the surface of the card. Now you want to clean the front and the back. And then once I clean that side, I'm holding it to this side, and I'm going this way. I'm cleaning the surface of the card. You're getting all your little fingerprints off, and every once in a while they do, there'll be like an ink blot or a piece of glue or whatever, but you can kind of see the surface of that card, and it's hard to show on camera, but the surface of that card looks really good. Now the next step would be you want to put it under the magnifying glass, right? This is where you got to do your due diligence here, and it's hard to show on camera, but you're looking for any print lines, scratches, anything that you can't see with your naked eye. Okay, so passes the surface, then we're going to look at the corners, right? So you want a very pristine corner. No rounded edges, no chip, no nothing, right? It has to be perfect. So you want to look at the corners. Okay, all 4 corners. Then you want to look at the edging and make sure the edge isn't rolled somewhere. This card is really clean. This is a really great example of a really clean card. You can kind of see when I turn it just right, you can kind of see a little bit of an edge right there, right? I've never been hit for something that small, okay, especially on a modern card. Okay, so we want to check the surface, clean the surface, front and back. I didn't clean the back. Front and back. And then, the kit comes with white gloves. You can use the white gloves to keep putting new fingerprints on it, or just kind of learn how to hold the cards without damaging them. But, we've got it clean. So the next step is a little personal touch that we like to do. And we use these easy grip sleeves, and I'm going to show all the products here at the end, everything that we use, but we're going to put the card in a clean, easy grip sleeve. Okay. Push it all the way down in there. The last step is the card saver. No one uses these anymore, but PSA makes us submit in these things. And what I do is I want to push the card in the card saver all the way down to where the top of the card is past that lip of the card saver, but my little tabs are sticking out right there. Okay. All right. So this card is technically ready to be submitted. Now, if you're if you're submitting through us, we have a little piece of paper that you fill out that you got to put all the parameters on there and put a value of the card. The value of the card definitely needs to be, you have to be realistic. If you're sending off Michael Jordan rookie and it's worth $5,000, you're going to want to put $5,000. Now, if it is a PSA 10, like you talk to other people and they think it's a definite 10, you can increase that price. But you want to put the price of what the card is worth to you right now if you never got it back. Right? That's important. Because a couple of things can happen. It can be lost in shipping. Or when they actually encapsulate the cards, they can damage the card during that process. And that actually happened to me once, and that never crossed my mind. But that can happen, which obviously hurt the grade of the card. But you want to put the declared value on there, what you're willing to get if you never got it back. Because it could either one, not ever get it back, or two, it might get damaged. But some of the things that we use, and we sell all these here at the shop, guys, is the Easy Grip sleeves. Now, don't use these for all your cards. Just use these for grading because they're a little bit more expensive. So the Easy Grip sleeve, the semi-rigid card savers. We have these in BCW now. I've talked to PSA. They're perfectly fine with the BCW brand, which is cheaper than the card saver gold, if you will. And then a couple of cool things. I always have one of these in my pocket when I go to a card show. It's just a battery-powered light. It's a magnifying glass. You can keep this in your pocket, flip it out, and you can look at the surface of that card without raising too many eyebrows quickly. But we keep those here, and this is one of my favorites to put on my desk. I like to have this just handy to quickly look at the surface of a card. Once again, it lights up too, but these are super handy. And then the kit, this little stand here allows you to put the card under the magnifying glass, and you don't have to hold the magnifying glass. So you can use both hands. And it is battery powered, or it has a USB cable. You can plug it into a USB, so you don't have to use batteries. The kit comes with 2 of your centering tools. And then it also comes with the gloves and some more microfibers, and then some additional microfibers, all in that kit. So great buy there. Kind of has everything you need except for the supplies that the card is actually going to be submitted in. But in order to determine if it's grade worthy, that's where you're going to start, right? But all these things we sell here at the shop. But come and see us. I really hope this answers some of your questions. We don't typically clean cards or prep cards to be sent off. That's up to you, and we'll put them in our submission. That's currently how we're doing it. But guys, if you have any questions, please refer back to this video or come and ask us in person, and we will do our best to help you. Thank you very much.